Gamescom is history, and we have still a few things happening in August, like PAX West and the launch of Astral Chain on August 30th. But most eyes are now centered towards September, the massive lineup of games coming out that month, and a possibility of a traditional Nintendo Direct. And together with me to discuss this possibility and what could be in that presentation is Nintendaan, who has been with me throughout the entire week at Gamescom.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
And Rogersbase, who knows, well, much better than we do when it comes to these type of topics.
What's going on, everybody? Happy to drop my crazy predictions for the September Direct in this discussion. It should be a fun one.
Very often they turn into reality when it comes to...
Yeah, I've been pretty good. I've been pretty good with the Pikachu and Eevee Joy-Cons and Bayonetta 2, and I mean, I have pretty good predictions. I gotta say, I'm proud of myself. Banjo being in Smash Brothers and the Dragon Quest hero, and yeah.
Exactly. Most of the discussions regarding the potential Nintendo Direct in September have focused around this very detailed Super Mario Odyssey-like Mario render that was posted by both Nintendo of America and also then by Nintendo of Europe during Gamescom, talking about things like having a great Odyssey and enjoy the sunshine, right? And everyone is just taking in the connection that
Sure.
Odyssey, sunshine, that must mean either remake, sequel, or expansion pass that we never got. And we don't want to decide in any way, shape, or form if it's true or not, but we're just going to prove to you and show some of the evidence that is going into each direction. So I'll begin with what is speaking in favor. And the biggest clue in favor is that before the launch of Super Mario Odyssey, we had a big marketing campaign in Japan where next to Mushroom Kingdom and the globe that we had in Super Mario Odyssey, you saw Isle Delfino. The problem is, Isle Delfino was never in Super Mario Odyssey. People thought, alright, we'll get it in a future expansion. It didn't happen. And now when you get a render like this, it's obviously people think, okay, they decided to either finally bring us the expansion pass, or more likely, just decided at some point in the development that, you know what, Isle Delfino is too big, we're not able to finish it in time, we'll make it the sequel to Super Mario Odyssey. The problem is that this render is not new, in the sense that it was actually given out before. And Dan, you know a little bit about the origin of this render.
Yes, I do. So, at the start of August, before this whole discussion ever happened, every year NCL, or Nintendo in Japan, gives out a wallpaper for the summer to all of its newsletter members, and this time they decided to publish it through My Nintendo. Usually you have a dedicated website for these things, but this year it was through My Nintendo, where you can download it for free. So you just go on there and download it there for free. There you'll see the render. There is a 16:9 version of it. There are a few versions of it for phones, but the reason that they put it out there is solely so you can put it on your phone as a desktop wallpaper.
Exactly. And it's a very similar situation to what we had with the high link render we had a few years back. It's just that in this case, it's more likely that we might get a sequel to Super Mario Odyssey, and everyone assumes, oh, this is it, we're getting it in the next Direct.
Honestly, going by either side, I lean more into the no end.
I agree.
More so because there is no specific pattern. I think they're just teasing things that aren't really there.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun to put fruit everywhere in a set and a Mario figure next to it, don't get me wrong. But if they even want to talk about the Mario sequel, I don't think we'll hear about something until 2020.
Same. And the thing is that Nintendo has completely different attention span right now. They're looking at the rest of 2019 and not 2020.
Yeah.
The only hint of 2020 from them we got at E3, and that was through Breath of the Wild 2 and Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Yeah.
And Breath of the Wild 2 we don't even know will be out next year.
For sure.
So, assuming that this is the first render for Super Mario Odyssey 2 or even an expansion pass, I think, if anything, I would find it more likely to be an expansion pass, because that could actually drop this year. December is still not filled out, and that would be a good place to fill out that vacancy.
For sure.
But as it is right now, I wouldn't jump to conclusions. I want to be positively surprised if it happens. During the Direct.
For sure. But I also think that with Mario, it's such an important franchise that even if they want to make such a tease, it needs to feel significant.
Yep.
Because I don't really feel that they're just gonna drop a new Mario game at a random spot in the year.
Yeah, and it would have made much more sense to have it in, say, the reveal trailer for Nintendo Switch Lite, as a part of the promotion of that system.
Yeah. And if they are going to do it, it's going to be like in the March Direct, there's still a lull and a verge for E3, or at E3 itself.
Yeah.
I don't really feel that it's going to be dropped in a random September Direct.
The only way it can show up in the Direct is if it's an expansion launching this year to Super Mario Odyssey.
And I don't think that's the case. I think they'd rather make a new game.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, Don, that I also don't think, even if it was a new render, I don't think it means anything. I genuinely don't think we're getting a Mario Sunshine HD remake or that it's DLC for Odyssey or something. I don't think it's any of that.
After the Gamescom now and the Indie World presentation that we had, which announced another Microsoft game, Ori and the Blind Forest, which many have wanted for a long, long time for the Nintendo Switch. And do you think that this is it for the Microsoft Nintendo collab, Roger?
Yeah, I think in terms of existing games, this is probably it. We already got Super Lucky's Tale, Cuphead, Minecraft, Ori. I think the Ori sequel that's in development right now could eventually come to Switch, I think. And if they're ever going to remaster Banjo Kazooie or do like a new rare replay or something like that, then I could see that coming to Switch, maybe Battletoads. But in terms of the existing games that are already on Xbox One, I think that's it.
So you don't think that they will do anything along with the Banjo Kazooie Smash Ultimate DLC Pack 3? Because it looks rather a given that during this Direct we will get the details for the Banjo Kazooie DLC Pack, and it would have been a perfect moment to say announce Rare Replay coming to the Nintendo Switch or a remaster of Banjo Kazooie.
I would love Rare Replay or a remaster of Banjo Kazooie. I think Rare Replay, it's almost too late at this point. Banjo Kazooie remaster, though, I think could eventually happen. I actually would not be shocked, in fact, if that happened, if they announced that in September in the Nintendo Direct as we found out more information about Banjo, and maybe that got released in, March of next year or something like that. But yeah, I don't think Rare Replay's coming to Switch.
Yeah, we also have to realize with Rare Replay, the way that game set up was very different from a traditional game, because Rare Replay was more of a hub on Xbox One, where if you chose a game, it would install. So it's very different than a traditional game, so they would have to rework the game from scratch.
There you go. I mean, I'd be very happy, even if they just ported over Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, since you could already play those games on Xbox. I mean, that'd be great. But again, I think in terms of like modern Microsoft new games, things like Ori, things like Cuphead, things like Lucky's Tale, things like Minecraft even, I think all that's already on Switch. I think those franchises will remain on Switch for the future, but I don't think we're getting any other existing things like Halo or anything like that coming to Switch at this point. I know there were rumors of like, Master Chief Collection as far back as E3, and I don't believe that anymore.
But what about Xbox Game Pass? There has been a lot of rumors and also hints when it comes to the possibility of bringing Game Pass with its massive game collection to the Nintendo Switch.
I will say this, if Game Pass ever comes to Switch, I think we'll find out about it next E3, alongside the announcement of the new system and all the new features and everything like that. I think that seems to me like an E3 announcement and not something we would get at TGS or during a September Direct.
Yeah, and also they kind of are focused on doing good with PC Game Pass right now, which just published. Yeah.
Yet from Microsoft, because obviously they have some involvement when it comes to Banjo-Kazooie in Smash. We also know that Sakurai has highlighted that in his Famitsu column, talking about how this would be impossible without the assistance of Microsoft and Rare. And do you think that they will put any kind of effort into highlighting that, or will they just go into the specifics of, say the gameplay, the Gruntilda's lair and the spirits?
They haven't really done that before, though, with any other third-party characters in particular.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I feel like the way that they've been doing these DLC characters, they've been releasing their own sort of standalone videos for them, like we got with Joker and with Hero, their own little presentations. I think we'll probably get the same thing with Banjo Kazooie. I think if we have a big September Nintendo Direct, I actually don't think that would be in there. In fact, I think it would be more likely that we get the 4th DLC character announcement in the Direct and not a gameplay overview of Banjo Kazooie. I think that's going to be its own thing.
And then get Banjo right before it launches, you guess?
Yeah, like kind of like what they did with Hero and with Joker.
Then when do you think we'll see Banjo?
I think Banjo would probably be early October, late September, but again, I don't think it'll be part of the September Direct if we get one.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a gap after, I would say, Heroes, Dragon Quest XI S is coming out on September 27th, so somewhere between there and the launch of The Witcher, which is October 15th, would be a good time slot.
Yeah, and I really think about it too in terms of the timing of characters. I think the announcement of a 4th DLC character for Smash during a September Direct, they don't necessarily have to say when that character's coming out yet. They could just say, winter 2019. And that could imply, okay, well, November, December, whatever, and still not give us a concrete date for Banjo, get that date for Banjo later, and then find out at the Game Awards whoever the 5th character is going to be. Because that's my presumption. I'm working off the idea that we're going to get the 4th character in this September Direct announced, and then a reveal of the release date and everything way later on in the year, and that the 5th character, which will probably drop in February of next year, will be announced at the Game Awards this year.
It does make sense. The Game Awards is one of the biggest live streams, and when it comes to gaming in the entire year, I think only E3 is bigger.
Yeah, timing-wise, it would make sense too to have like a late September or October release date for Banjo, and then have that 4th character that was already previously announced come out in December or November, and then finally having that last character in February, like we already know that's going to be the case. So
yeah. It looks like they have a solid plan when it comes to the release of all the Smash Bros. DLC, and now with Banjo, they're just going to make sure that it comes out at a time where it can get the spotlight, or hug the spotlight in that sense, and then move on to the next character, which, if we're talking about it being revealed in this possible Nintendo Direct, one of the reasons why people see it happening is that GameStop leak, well, not leak, but the slots of games that have not been filled up to this point. And you can take it whatever way you want, but it looks like things are being held back a little bit.
Yeah. I think here's my prediction for that character, since we're on the topic anyway. I think if a Monster Hunter does in fact get announced for Switch at Tokyo Game Show, then I think the 4th DLC character will be a Monster Hunter character. But I think if that is not the case, I think the 4th DLC character is going to be someone from Undertale. I actually think it would be Frisk and not Sans. I think Sans would be added as a boss or something like that, but I actually think it would be Frisk. And that it would utilize maybe the other characters from Undertale in the moveset in some way. I think a lot of the mechanics would probably revolve around like the heart, having a little heart in a little box. I could see them doing a lot of really interesting things with that. Maybe making Frisk like a pacifist kind of character would be interesting too. But to me, Undertale and Monster Hunter both seem so likely at this point. Just with Sakurai's love of the Undertale franchise, they're still not being an indie rep, that being the one that makes sense. Nintendo really pushing Toby Fox's games. A Monster Hunter definitely being developed for Switch, but we might not find out about it yet. The Monster Hunter team being much more lenient with what games Monster Hunter gets in. Both of those franchises seem very likely to me. And so those are still my guesses for the final 2 of the Challenger Pack. And I'd love to see something like a Phoenix Wright or Professor Layton or some really out there kind of thing. But those 2 just really, really make sense and fill in the niches that sort of, Dragon Quest and Persona and Banjo.
If I wanted to have my dream and it was something from Monster Hunter, it would likely have been something from Stories.
But then again, we need to remember that we have Rathalos as a boss in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate already.
Exactly.
And that is the big tease we are talking about. And I think they might actually be waiting with, as I see also of this list, that you are suggesting that we might get a Monster Hunter Switch reveal. And after the port of Witcher 3, I don't see it anymore as an impossibility to get a port of Monster Hunter World. Obviously not the same beautiful graphics that you have on PlayStation 4, but still a possibility to have a port, because if you can port The Witcher, well, you can port pretty much everything else.
Right. I don't think we're getting a world port, though. Like I said, I really think the Monster Hunter Switch game is going to be something new that branches off the franchise in a way that specifically separates it from the gameplay of World. But I mean, yeah, I also agree. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for them to port World, but I think at this point they really want to focus on separating the two experiences.